Hello, everyone. Happy Monday, and welcome back to Sin City Crypto Live. My name is David. I'll be one of your co-hosts, and today, like every day, we're coming at you live from our studio in Las Vegas, Nevada. We have a packed show for you today. We're talking about Bitcoin surpassing Visa. We're talking about Blur. Did you get the airdrop? We got a video from Forrest on that. We also have Magic Internet Money joining us. We're going to take a look at Solana, Sandbox, Hedera Hashgraph. We also got news on FTX. Another person, high-level executive, is flipping on Sam Bankman-Fried. What does that mean? We'll discuss that and much more. But first, here's your other co-host, Robin.
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we're an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take the old, boring, and stale information and package it up in a fun and sexy way. Bitcoin bounced off 25K. We're under 25, but not for long. Do you think we'll be over 25 by the end of the show? That's only a $200 move.
Wow.
What do you guys think? Put a 1 in the chat if you think by the end of this stream we'll be over 25K. Put a 2 in the chat if it's and no way.
Before we start the show, I want to recognize someone. We got a new whale member over the weekend.
Oh, yeah?
We did. I mean, right? You did the show.
That is correct, yes. So, starting it off with a bang.
Shout out to our newest whale member, Destroyer, who literally looks like an absolute destroyer. The dude is jacked. The dude is straight yoked. We met him in Vegas at the BitBoy book signing meetup. And so to all of you members, to those of you that support this channel, thank you guys so much. We appreciate it.
Six whale members. So absolutely no return on value on that. But a return of appreciation.
Well, the return on value is keep the lights on, right?
Yeah.
That's a return on value.
Hey, man, that's how we fund this thing.
That's right.
We funded there, but you also get your name in the credits. So if you are a whale member and you have not watched it till the end, you'll see your name.
It'll be a good day.
Crypto 420, he's a whale member. So
that's right.
Yeah.
All right. You know, I like to start the shows off with some giggles. And so why not start again with some giggles? And so this is from Naive Meme. So this is a video highlighting. It says the man in the car is Bitcoin, who is up 50%. And the person you'll see on the outside of the car is the Bears waiting for $10,000. You know, just minding our own business. The Bears, 10K, I'm coming. Bitcoin says, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're not coming. So I thought that was pretty funny. Also, I also wanted to share. You know, we talk about
why is that so funny?
What the guy's playing inside the car. And then
Can we play that every show this week?
You get the show going?
Yeah. Just this week. This week is going to be a locked in the car drum session. Monday through Friday.
I'm digging it. You know, we always talk about, you know, how far we are from mainstream adoption. And maybe it's just people not understanding. Maybe it's people don't want to understand. Well, I think this next video paints the picture perfectly. So this is from Crypto Memes at Let's Crypto Memes. Says, here's why we need to be patient with mass adoption of crypto. And this video will tell it all. Just watch. It's not an actual phone, it's a sign, miss. And so, guys, the point of this video is to tell you that when something new, like mobile orders, curbside pickup, when it makes its way, it takes some time for people to adjust. People who've been set in their ways, people who are used to writing checks at the grocery store, they need the learning curve of how to pay with your debit card or how to pay with cash.
You know, my overly zealous video game brain identified that song. You know where that song is from? First of all, it's probably copyrighted. Thank you. Second of all, that song is from Zelda, Ocarina of Time, in the the Lost Forest.
Yeah, I like Forest.
Yeah, so,
I like Forest.
You know, if we're gonna talk about video games, here's one of my
We're not
favorite.
Going to talk about video games.
Well,
you want to talk about video games?
That's right. That's correct. Yes. Also, the new Call of Duty launched yesterday, which, by the way, your boy got 2 straight victories right off the rip yesterday. How you doing? over 500 wins. That's right. Got an impressive resume, portfolio, and we also like to have our throwback games here. And this is one of my favorites here. We have a new version of Mario. Oh, there's Gary, SEC, and Jim Cramer. And then
Elon Mario?
Yeah. Oh, he got the Tesla. Bill Clinton, Hillary, outdoor. and then a couple more gifts here, and lastly, finish it off with the SpaceX. There you go. So,
wow.
Mhm.
You know, I have this video I want to show, but first, also we have a video from Forrest on Blur, and there's a lot of buzz around Blur, the NFT marketplace that kind of launched. They did an airdrop, but first, I want to show you guys. This is for all the men out there. This is the hero. This is from Barstool Sports. Not the hero we deserve, but the hero we need. And so this dude, you know, a little bigger. And just listen to this pretty interesting conversation.
A girlfriend?
I don't.
Do you think I'm hot?
Not really.
Oh, why?
Way many more people attractive here than you.
What's not hot about me?
Your personality and your voice.
My voice?
You're a little too small. You can maybe like eat a burger, not be anorexic.
That's aggressive.
I don't know who you're trying to impress. No one's going to simp over you.
The hero we don't deserve. The hero we need.
Girlfriend?
All right, let's get into.
Do you think I'm hot?
Sorry, let me-
that dude literally is looking at her like, you
That
look
dude's
like
a
you look,
G, bro.
He's like looking at her. He's like, you are a headache. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, yeah, the package is nice. It's like buying that something that you really wanted at the electronics store. You're like, yeah, this packaging is nice. Then you go to get into it, and it's got that weird like folded plastic edges, and you're trying to get in there.
that are,
Next
like,
thing you know, you
glued
got
together.
your scissors out, and you're just like, hey,
Yeah,
no,
you know what the worst is? The worst is when scissors are packaged in that, because you need scissors to open up the scissors, but you wouldn't have bought scissors if you didn't need scissors.
Changer right there. Also, another game changer would be some more likes here. So, guys, like us out by hitting the like button. There you go.
Like us out.
That's
Yes.
right.
All right, let's jump in. Let's take a look at some of the biggest happenings of the week, and then we'll jump into Forrest's video, and then we'll bring on our friend Magic. So, some things that are happening. You have a big listing for Singularity Net's Ajax token is getting listed on Huobi today. And so bringing some more liquidity to that token. We know AI has been a pretty big narrative over the last few weeks, which, by the way, we did our AI video on our channel. Go watch that. Also, Axie Infinity, if you play Axie Infinity, Homeland Alpha Season 1 is kicking off on February 22nd. So in 2 days, I don't play Axie Infinity. I never have. Rob, have you ever played Axie Infinity?
I played it for all of about 20 minutes, but when we went to go do a deep dive on Axie Infinity,
Ronan?
and yeah, on that, and it was okay. It was better than some games, but definitely
Still far off.
what is the market cap for that thing? Because the amount of money that people have invested in that and for the game is pretty lackluster. So Axie Infinity is sitting at number 50 on the coin market cap list.
Damn.
Jesus. And so over $1.25 billion tied up into a game that is, yeah.
Pretty linear.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not
what
a
I'm
big
saying is
gamer to
it's
begin
not,
with,
it's
so.
not a bad game. It's just, is it worth over $1 billion? Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I've played a lot of games that I downloaded for free on the iPhone that are better than that one. Man.
Wow.
Saying, man.
Well,
Step your game up, Axie.
we got some big news from if you're in the SHIB community, as SHIB is getting listed on Binance. They're delisting KSHIB and they're listing regular SHIB on Binance.us. Like SHIB needs more liquidity. That's coming on the 24th of February. Also, ETH Denver is happening from the 24th of this month till March 5th in Denver, Colorado. If you are going to ETH Denver, put a 1 in the chat. We will not be going there.
You don't want to do a last minute trip?
No.
Okay.
No. And then I believe the last one was one where I wanted to highlight. It was which one was it? It was down here somewhere. VeChain. So if you're in Vegas, VeChain is having a kind of like a meetup. This is on March 4th in Las Vegas. We will be there. So if you're going to join us, make sure to come. Also, that's going to be in about a week and a half in March. And then Filecoin is releasing their Filecoin EVM. That should be pretty big for adoption of Filecoin.
Which I think that's one of the big reasons that you had a big run up in Filecoin, right? That was like the biggest news. I think it's anticipation. We've been talking about Filecoin. We've been hyper bullish on this. And so
It's like $4.
yeah, so we're starting to see that rally. We were discussing stacks over the weekend before it pumped too. We were talking about like, hey, maybe we should cover stacks.
Stacks is crushing it right now.
Probably going to rally because of the eyeballs on Bitcoin, and we were going to actually do a deep dive into that. And then we came to this realization a couple days too late. So we need to be more progressive.
You know what, guys? What this should tell you is one thing, right? We
Ultra
saw
pumping?
ChatGPT come out. It took the world by storm. And then what happened? AI tokens pumped. We saw the ordinals come out on Bitcoin. And what are we seeing now? We're seeing Bitcoin layer 2s like stacks pump. So figure out what the trend is, right? The trend usually comes, and in the case of the AI, it came outside of crypto. In the case of Bitcoin, obviously it came from inside of crypto. But once a trend starts picking up, look at some of the lower cap tokens in that space. And if you're trying to make money, not financial advice, very risky, but you can make a 2, 3, 4, 5x in a bear market if you just trade the trend, right? What's trending now? What's the narrative? Trade those tokens. So a lot of people made money on stacks. A lot of people made money on Bitcoin ordinals. A lot of people made money on these smaller cap AI tokens like Ajax, like Alethea, like Fetch.ai. So there's always money to be made. It's just, are you doing the research and are you listening to news and watching Sensitive Crypto like you are now?
Yeah. Also, we had more 2s than the 1s, and just a refresher on that. That is if we're going to be over 25K by the end of the stream. Also, a little shout out to some of our new viewers. If you're new here, say hello, so that way we can drop an hola back at you. We have It's Adori, we got J Daz, Vinod Patel, Slappy, Doug Yoder, Lunar VRR, and Kehro. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto, and let's hit the like button. We got a less than 50% like ratio.
Slappy
that
Doug.
means this message that I'm speaking to you here, have you hit the like button? Because over half of you have not.
Guys, let's get into our first video. So this is on Blur, right? They had their airdrop. And so a lot of people were asking about Blur last week. It's a pretty hot topic. And so we asked our man Forrest to do a video on it. And so let's go ahead and watch.
All right, so what is this Blur token and why does it keep going up? From its airdrop date, it dipped down to 50 cents. It's already up to $1.20. That's 150% gain, and it peaked out at around $1.40, which was nearly a 200% run in Blur token. So what is Blur? It's the token of an NFT marketplace, and this is now the #1 NFT marketplace in the space. If we go over to their Twitter, we see Blur is the NFT marketplace for pro traders. So if we actually go to the Blur website, what you'll see is a very different experience than what you get on OpenSea or other NFT marketplaces. This is more like a Bloomberg terminal type experience. And if you're an NFT trader, which, you know, a lot of NFT volume is driven, I'd say the vast majority is driven by people who are serious NFT traders and collectors, you're getting such a better experience over here at Blur than you are on OpenSea. OpenSea, yes, is very easy to use, but from a UI UX perspective, it's not giving you near the amount of data and information that you're getting from using Blur. On top of that, Blur is also fairly easy to use itself. Now, how much market penetration has Blur actually gotten? Well, if we see here, this is actually alarming if you are OpenSea. Very alarming. If we go over here for the past 3 months, daily trades, actually, let's go to daily volume for the past 3 months. We see that Blur has taken 83.7% of the NFT trade volume market share. That is huge. OpenSea is now only doing 12.7%. And you can see that this has been declining steadily for the last 3 months. Interestingly, right, you would expect that perhaps leading into the Blur airdrop, you'd see this big disparity, but you wouldn't expect necessarily Blur to take a ton of market share post airdrop. But what they've actually done is they have a season 2 airdrop, Blur season 2. Season 1 was just the beginning. There's a lot more coming. Season 2 rewards have not been revealed yet, but for the next 30 days, all bidding and listing points have been doubled. So they are incentivizing people to use their platform with their token. So they essentially are paying people to use their platform and their token. This is a huge advantage because OpenSea does not have a token. They cannot incentivize people to use to use OpenSea because they essentially don't have a token yet. They may have to drop one in the future if they want to compete with Blur. In fact, their response to this severe drop in market share, OpenSea drops fees, cuts creator royalty protections as rival Blur rises. So the NFT marketplace, OpenSea, will only mandate a 5% royalty fee for projects without on-chain enforcement, but will allow sellers to pay more. They have temporarily eliminated the 2.5% fee on sales. This is great for the NFT market. It was obviously bad for OpenSea because they're making less money, but that 2.5% was unsustainable and absolutely egregious. Imagine if every transaction you made for a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or Ethereum had a 2.5% fee. The market would just not survive. They were just taking way too much money. Now, how high can Blur actually go? That is obviously speculative. We're currently sitting at a $3.6 billion valuation and climbing, and that's climbing because of their dominance in the market. They've continued to take over market dominance to many people's surprise. So this token has actually held up incredibly well in terms of its price. However, $3.6 billion is nothing to sneeze at. Let's actually compare that to where OpenSea was valued as a private company back towards the peak of the bull market in the NFT space. $13.3 billion is the last valuation that they raised money in. And I believe this was back in January of 2022, towards the peak of the NFT and crypto bull market. So is OpenSea worth $13.3 billion today? No, probably nowhere close to it. Right now, we're seeing the largest NFT marketplace being valued at around $3.6 billion. But we know that those valuations have the potential, should the NFT market come back in full force and go into another bull market, have the potential to reach $10+ billion. So it's not unrealistic to think that Blur is capable of doing a 3 to 4x here. Now, we are not near at those levels of trade volume yet that we would need to justify such a large, fully diluted valuation. But in the future, if the NFT market comes back, we could see Blur token prices, and assuming that Blur continues to keep this market share and dominate the market, we could see Blur prices in the $3 to $4 range, and I don't think that would be totally unrealistic. In the meantime, I'd be very careful here. The circulating supply is quite low in relation to the total supply, so there would probably be some emissions, some token unlocks that could put downwards pressure on this price. I hope this was helpful.
Do you think, Rob, in your opinion, do you think OpenSea's done for? I mean, we've seen marketplace after marketplace come in, change the game, do things different. OpenSea, like Forrest mentioned, 2.5%. That is high, man. You sell a Bored Ape, you're losing 2.5 ETH, right?
Yeah.
If you're selling at 100.
But here's the thing: is creating your own token. Is that the way to go? As I don't think it is.
That's what a lot of these new ones are doing.
I get it. I'm just
so. What
saying,
is the way then?
Yeah, it feels So basically, they're still gonna make their money. So think about it this way: OpenSea made their money off of their trading fees, and Blur is making their money off of having their own token and then controlling most of their own tokens, and then having a lot of utilization, community growing, and then being able to dump your tokens for profit, because that's essentially what they're going to have to do, right? And is that the right business model? I don't know. I would rather have a 1% fee because right now you have 1% fee on Coinbase. Nobody's out here beating the egregious drum on Coinbase, right?
That's still pretty high, man.
No, it is. But what I'm saying is but you get a convenient user UI. You get a lot of things, you get a lot of safety because, hey, they're publicly traded. They're more transparent. You're paying for something. You get something. You can go for very little trading fees on a foreign exchange, but you're taking more risk, right? So you're actually receiving something in return for the 1% fee on Coinbase. And I think, me personally, I would be happy paying the 1% if I knew the platform was secure, safe, ideal, because that business model where you have your own token, time and time again, has not been sustainable. And, I think the Bored Ape token is going to essentially collapse at some point. And I think a lot of exchange tokens are going to collapse. And I think that NFT trading platform tokens will probably do the same. And at least there's risk for it.
You think
there's no risk.
You think ApeCoin's going to collapse?
Yeah.
You're high.
Okay, what happens if their game doesn't take off?
You still can use it to buy their NFTs.
You can use Ethereum to buy their NFTs.
Yeah, but you can use
Who
ApeCoin.
controls the most of that token as well? It's the devs. I'm sorry, man, but to create a token, airdrop it, and then for it to be to be able to transact with it. Their game is a browser-based game. We talked to the lead marketing officer for Gala. He's in agreement that browser-based gaming is not the way to go. And so, I don't know, man. I don't have very much confidence in a platform's token. Here's the thing: if this was a layer one project kind of thing, sure. If they're building an ecosystem, but to simply launch a website and then be like, here's an airdrop
They are
token.
building an ecosystem.
They launched the website.
They're building an ecosystem.
Oh, okay. Do you think that Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google, Apple, do you think all of them should have their own token? And all it does is let you buy stuff on their websites? I'm just curious.
That's a stupid.
No, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Here, I got an NFT platform. Instead of charging fees, we're just going to create our own token and then make money that way. Or you can make money by charging fees. And so Apple charges 30% to the creators and their fees. So you're paying for it somewhere. Like, things aren't nothing is for free. So if you're not paying any fees for buying and selling NFTs, somebody's going to pay for it. And whether that somebody is somebody that bought Blur token at an over inflated price and then gets dumped on later, somebody pays for it. You can't create value out of thin air. Now, at the time, you can airdrop and it can have a facade that you're creating value out of thin air. But and here's the thing, like, you can have successful projects, you can have airdrops, and then you can have a successful project. I mean, Uniswap's a good example, but I mean, even with Uniswap, is that sustainable? Is the Uniswap token gonna be around in 10 years? I doubt it. Honestly.
I doubt it. It's a governance token.
I'm just saying. Or maybe it doesn't have the market cap it does now.
There's no
maybe
way.
maybe Uniswap isn't even around in 10 years.
Uniswap is the largest DEX for the largest layer one in the space. And it's decentralized. And so there is no way, as Ethereum grows and as DeFi grows, that the largest DEX on Ethereum is not going to have governance.
Okay. And also the largest MP3 downloading platform was Napster and LimeWire. They don't stick around. Things don't stay in place. New technology comes
Unless
in and
another
replaces
DEX
stuff.
replaces it, then sure.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Is that unless Uniswap stays ahead of the game and they end up being the go-to DEX for all of eternity, they're gonna get replaced by somebody else. And then what happens to the people that bought those tokens at early sale? They're gonna lose their money. And then that market's gonna shift elsewhere. And so there are just only a handful of examples. Mac, Windows, like a couple games. You know, you can sit here and be like, Bomberman's gonna be around forever. Well, you know what? Bomberman was popular for 10 years and then it died out.
You know,
Sega Genesis was popular. Sega, like you mentioned, popular. That died out. And so you're only going to have market share for as long as you're willing to adapt and change to the ecosystem and not let anybody take your spot. Because other projects are going to build. They're going to want to take the king's crown, bro.
I want to call someone out from our community member. Redman, you're supposed to be either saving lives or watching Sin City Crypto. What the hell are you doing gambling? Redman won. He's been hitting. He said it in the chat. He's winning on super crypto slots. And so how much was it? $22. He won he won $86 earlier. Now he's winning 10. What are you doing, Redman? What are you doing, bro? You live in Vegas. You're doing crypto slots. Come on, bro. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and bring our guest and our friend of the channel, Magic Internet Money.
Guys, how are we doing today?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
What up?
Living the dream. It's finally nice in Kansas for once, so I can actually get out of the sweats and go
Sun's out,
outside.
guns out, or what?
Today, yeah, we're going to the park after this. My kids are off for the holiday, obviously, so we're going to go to the park with the dog and spend some time outside after this. Be a good day.
Cool, man. That sounds like fun. My kid's at a 8-hour soccer striker clinic. I won't see him until
awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Magic, what are your thoughts on token airdrops? Do you think are you against it or for it? I'm not sure how much of that conversation you caught before you came on.
A little bit of it. I'm not really necessarily against it. It's one of those things, though. It seems like a lot of times with token airdrops, they end up just being, pump and dumps. But in terms of like how I would treat an airdrop if I was involved in them, me personally, those are free tokens. I don't know that I would sell them. I think I would hang on to them through the next bull market, and some might go to zero, but some also might explode. And to me, that's free money that you were just given. So it really just kind of depends on what your motivation is there.
Okay. I want to get into, before we jump into the charts, I want to get into a couple news, and then we'll get into a Bitcoin chart here. But the first one is from Cointelegraph. It says, crypto's next bull run will come from the East. This is according to Gemini co-founder Cameron Winklevoss. Crypto's next bull run will start in Asia. His comments have come amid an increase in enforcement action and looming crackdowns from the United States regulators, including the Securities and Exchange Commission. He said, quote, it will be a humbling reminder that crypto is a global asset and that the West, really the US, always only ever had two options, embrace it or be left behind. It can't be stopped, that we know, he continued. According to Chainalysis, Central and Southern Asia and Oceania, also known as CSAO, was the third largest crypto market in its index for 2022. And CSAO was home to 7 of the top 20 countries: Vietnam, Philippines, India, Pakistan, Thailand, Nepal, and Indonesia. Cameron Winklevoss went on to say, and it will mean missing out on shaping and being a foundational part of the future financial infrastructure of this world and beyond. To back that up, we have Southeast Asia's largest bank, DBS, sees an 80% increase in Bitcoin trading volume on its crypto exchange. DBS, the largest bank in Southeast Asia, announced last week that its digital asset exchange saw record trading volumes for Bitcoin and Ether in 2022. In addition, the number of Bitcoin and ETH under custody at the bank soared during the same period. According to the bank, the number of Bitcoin traded on their exchange was close to 80% higher year on year. So from the height of the bull market in 2021 to 2022, it was higher than the previous year when everything was running up. And Ethereum was 65% higher. The chief executive of DBS, Lionel Lim, said, quote, we believe that the market has decisively shifted its focus towards trust and scalability, trust and stability, especially in the wake of multiple scandals that have rocked the industry. Now, the bank, DBS, they launched in December 2020 their digital exchange as a members only for institution and accredited investors. But in September, they rolled out self-directed crypto trading, and they are also custodying crypto. Robin, do you agree with Cameron and kind of this to back it up? Do you think Asia is going to lead the next bull run?
Yeah. We're starting to see through regulation the stifling of crypto markets, or at least the adoption on the institutional side here in the States and in Europe, particularly in England. Now, not to say that we're going backwards, but we're definitely applying the brakes. And so the retail investor, me, you, we can all buy crypto. However, it is a lot of murkier waters if you are a publicly traded company, if you are a Fortune 500 company and you want exposure to crypto, the legal loopholes and uncertainty would probably just have you say, nah, I'll pass for now. Here in the States, it is not that situation abroad. And we're starting to see not only interest from the East, but also the Middle East. Dubai is going all in on crypto. They are very tech forward as well. And so wouldn't surprise me to see, first of all, next bull run, Singapore, South Korea, Japan leading the charge, and also the Middle Eastern countries really getting behind crypto, especially on the institutional side. I could see a lot of exchanges.
Does that mean money is going to shift away from U.S. Treasury securities and into maybe hard money assets?
No. I think it's going to be more venture capital. I think this is an emerging sector. The hedge funds and venture capital are going to start when the market starts to come back, not only in the U.S. but the global markets. These all move in tandem. When the markets start to come back and these venture capital companies are looking to increase their positions in smaller, more risk-on assets or in companies, I think they're going to start looking more so at crypto. Hey, because they're looking at what happened last time. They're like, hey, man, in 2019, we could have piled in. We had a lot of excess money. We missed out on that Ethereum. We missed out on a handful of other projects that have boomed. And so I don't think they want to get left behind again.
You know, and one important thing to note as well is China has just turned their money printers back on.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, they're injecting capital into their economy. They're opening back up. And so on that side, right, supply chain, blah, 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 that's starting to look better. Now, the whole issue with Ukraine and World War III, that we don't know. Magic, what are your thoughts on Asia leading the next bull market? Do you think that's going to happen? And maybe are the charts telling you otherwise? Or are they telling you, is it confluent with what they're talking about in the news? Are you muted?
I do. Yeah, sorry, I muted I just tap the top sometimes and it turns off. So, yeah, I do think that Asia has got a pretty good shot at that. Their market is actually recovering quite nicely. They've opened things back up. And I do agree that the U.S. is kind of setting itself up for failure just because they don't have regulation in place. They're not really moving in that direction quickly either. Not that we want them to move too quickly, because we've seen what they'll do if they move too quickly. They don't really have an idea of what they're doing, in my opinion, because they don't know enough about the space. But it would be really nice if they could get a committee together this year to have some kind of regulation go through, and even have like an ETF or something that gets approved. I think that would be their best case scenario. Otherwise, yeah, you're going to look elsewhere to it. And I think that would be the case. In terms of the long-term outlook for our market, it's hard for me to be too bearish just because I know that we've got a lot of talks of recession going into the end of the year. And I think that that's very relevant. But we still have to see how things play out, because we can all guesstimate and fearmonger, but at the end of the day, that's all we're doing in that case. And so to me, I'm not really too concerned on who starts the bull market. I'm just concerned on being positioned correctly for it, to be upfront with you guys. None of that stuff matters none of that stuff matters too much to me as a trader. I'm just like, hey, how do I take advantage of the situation? that's the only way it's going to affect me. Is how does it affect my capital?
I don't give a shit who starts the bull market. Just start it, damn it.
Yeah, that's right.
I want to know, guys, who's going to lead the charge? I want to know what y'all think. Who's going to lead the charge in the next bull run? And put it in the chat. 1 for US, 2 for Asia, or 3 for the Middle East. And I'd like to know where you guys think the adoption is going to come from. So
2 should have been Middle East because middle. Anyways, so Magic, let's take a look at a Bitcoin chart. So Bitcoin, 25.2 is a number people keep throwing out, number I keep hearing. Are we close to breaking that? And if we break that, what does that mean? Or if we don't break that, what does that mean?
Yeah, so, if you don't break it, you just remain range bound. This is an idea I brought up actually on your guys' show a couple of times now, was the timeline that I'm looking for a potential either break of the range or a reversal and we remain range bound. I did the exact same thing in 2021 here. And same data pool in terms of like time. I just use standardized time intervals and then choose points based on specific sessions. In this case, I use 6 months of data to time out these 2 highs and lows and then use that to time the tops and bottoms. And then it came in right here to the next yearly pivot, which is your prior year's session average. You got your rejection, you broke your timeline, and we then worked off of new time working for this low. And my day for the low was November 7th. I think I was off by a couple weeks because we did take this low over here on the 21st. So now I'm looking at this as if this is a larger consolidation, we really have 2 options. The target that I gave on December 14th, it's the pinned tweet on my profile, is 26 to 27K. The actual number is 26,724. And I'm looking for that to come in the next week or 2, potentially. So even if we get an impulse out of this range, you have to be careful that it doesn't just come back down, because I think everyone is looking for this type of scenario for 2019, right? We're all looking for this. Let's be honest with ourselves. We would love to see this. That would put Bitcoin probably somewhere between like $38,000 and $50,000 in a similar situation. However, we've also seen 2015 and 16 where we failed to reach our yearly average. Actually, we rejected at the range high, which was roughly 10 to 20% away from it, which is kind of where we're sitting now at a clean 10% move. So you would be looking at this as remaining range bound for a longer period of time. And so that's kind of how I'm seeing it. I know that's not too helpful, but if we break above 26.7 and we're holding this as support, you're probably going to rotate this old section of price right here. And I think 32K is where you've got to be eyeballing. And that's just the top of the range. And the reason I do that is because if we go back to one of these charts right here, like this historical chart, what you'll notice is that when we were sitting in this range, forming this giant section of price, this was our bottom from the summer lows in 21 when we rallied up to 69K from here. If you were to take this range and just move it on over, you can see where the volume profile is lining up historically. That's going to be the top of this level here. And if you break that, then you're probably going to fill in this 6-month NPOC from 2022 at 38.9. But that's well and far away. You have to clear this range and stay above like this little box right here at 12. The 12M1 is what I'll refer to it as. That's just your yearly pivot. So we are at an inflection point, both on the chart in terms of resistance and in time. So that's how I've been trading it. That's why I've been very confident that, I should continue to hold my longs. 1, we have a statistical target that is met over 80% of the time. And 2, timing it. If we're looking for similar volatility from our last session of price, and we take this and we overlap it into this session, this is be the time frame we're looking for, some form of a short-term reversal at least. So I am still kind of deleveraging myself on my longs into this region. I still have that long open, but I will be taking profits and looking for the next opportunity that may be short, or I'll continue to hold longs and try to take the move up as well.
Okay.
And then also, we only had 1 in the chat, which is not a lot of fans of USA, but Web3 and me is. But most of the people were saying Asia as well. Just a heads up on that.
I want to move on to. Oh, by the way, Magic, before you showed that chart, you had something else pulled up. I think it was the order flow. Did you want to go over that before I move on to?
I was just leaving it up just in case we got to a conversation about like the lower time frames, because that stuff is primarily for the lower time frame. And what I will say is we cover it every morning on our morning show. One thing that you should note is that if price starts losing like 22,800, that is a big level. And the reason is you've had a lot of longs open up here. And when you see this amount of longs opening up beneath resistance, but it's not breaking it, you start putting those longs underwater, they become basically fuel for a bigger move down. So that's what you'd be looking for. I think it all starts with like 23.8, 23.6. If you lose that region, you're going to see 22.8. You move below that, you're going to have probably a bigger correction on your hands, most likely. And that would put us back down towards more like the range lows, probably in like that 18.5 to 19K region. But that's, again, we're pretty much in a structure right here. I think it's probably some form of a triangle or pennant forming, and we'll see if we get a resolution to the upside or downside, traded either way.
And I'll add something as well. There was a lot of money. I believe the number was close to $3 billion in quarterly call options for Bitcoin. And so and that ends at the end of March. And so I think March is going to be extremely important because if I'm not mistaken, their price was 23.5 or 24,000. So if we dip below and these calls get liquidated, that could cause a lot of volatility to the downside in Bitcoin. How low can it go? Who knows? But
ironically, the high from 2022, when we made our high at 48K, it was March 28th. So the end of March is coming. Yeah. So it's kind of funny you said into March. I was like, that's right in time with it. So interesting.
Those are big ones. Quarterly option expiries. Those are pretty big ones. So when I was trading options, those are what I would always do. I do quarterly. All right. Let's move on to some altcoins. So we're going to share some news and we're going to ask Magic for his take and show the charts. So the first one we're talking about is Hedera. By the way, guys, we got a poll up. So we're talking about Hedera, Sandbox, and Solana today as far as news articles. So which one are you most bullish on?
I ended the poll, and 61% of the viewers are most bullish on HBAR, followed by Solana in second at 21, and Sand in a distant third. Me and David were talking about this over the weekend. Not a lot of interest in metaverse and gaming. That's starting to fade, right? And anyways, HBAR.
Hedera, there's a lot of H-barbarians out there. So Hedera, founder, reveals big ambitions for 2023, says the network is defying bear market with steady growth. The founder of HBAR, I believe they interviewed Mance Harmon, who we've had on a show, by the way, is revealing the project's ambitions for the year, saying that the network has managed to defy the crypto's winter. According to Harmon, HBAR's fundamentals improved. He goes on to say that he believes HBAR will continue its growth in 2023, as he believes that Hedera will be the first blockchain to truly solve the issue of scalability in the crypto industry. He said, quote, industry-wide, what the industry has yet to see is a layer one really scale its ability to process transactions, really high throughput at a price point that is acceptable to the market. And over the next 12 months, we're going to take the next step in terms of going down the path towards true scale. Today, in the network as it exists, we already have capacity to process 10,000 transactions per second, and that's been there since we launched back in the fall of 2019. They also plan on running community ran nodes in addition to the one ran by council members, greatly expanding the blockchain's capabilities. What's the price action on Hedera telling you? We know Hedera Magic went through a pretty big pump.
Yeah. So we actually covered this one of the first times I was on here. You guys asked me what altcoins I was interested in, and HBAR was brought up that we could see these figures even lower. However, this is a good area to be looking for longs on HBAR. The risk is low, and this is where your big macro support is. You were basically looking for the break back above this level here, right at 5.5 cents. Once you did, you're off to the races. You've got some local highs here from this last range. You can see at 8.45 cents, and that is what you are just sitting on top of right now. You're just back testing the old range. However, you are range bound, and 9.36 cents was the level that I gave on my Friday night charts stream, and we've effectively come up, swung fail these local highs, and close back below it. So you are sitting in a structure much like Bitcoin underneath resistance, which can be bullish. It can also lead to a rollover. So for me, if I'm interested in adding anything to HBAR, I'm not necessarily too keen on adding at these levels just because it's been such a good run up. I think we are due for a pullback. Time is also telling me that we could be seeing that out of Bitcoin. So for me, I'm going to be more patient. I'm going to wait for our developing quarterly value area low into the gold pocket, knowing that I have this major low and support right here as well. So I'll be looking somewhere anywhere from, down under 7 cents down to about 6 cents high, give or take. So that's where I'm looking for on HBAR. However, if it does the opposite of what I want it to do, which can definitely happen, you want to be aware of about 11 cents here up here at the highs. You'll be swing failing these local highs from this last little consolidation before the final dump off. And you've got some like local wicks here. But If it gets cleared and Bitcoin, let's say Bitcoin defies everything, goes to 2019, like 2019 style rally, we see, 32, 38K, something like that. There is no reason why I wouldn't expect it to come up to these 13 and then 15 cents and 19 cents over time. And that essentially is just back testing an old structure, right? So you can see where the resistance is coming in at and why these levels are relevant just with the price action alone. So that's what I'd be looking for. I am bullish on the project. When you guys put out that poll, that's actually the one I chose. So the coin that I was most interested in out of the three there was HBAR. So I do have a small bag of HBAR, but I'm not actively day trading it. But if it gives me an opportunity, I will probably take another stab at it.
Okay. What are your thoughts on that, Rob? What are your thoughts on them expanding to not just council nodes, but community nodes? And this whole thing as far as scalability. What are your thoughts?
I like the fact that they are industry and like institutional driven with a lot of big partnerships with some huge names in the Fortune 500 space. And, they're the one problem that, their one critique that we've heard echoed over the social media channels is the centralization. And so any kind of expansion, especially with the nodes going into more retail sector, beneficial for the space. And you're going to see this across the successful projects, right? You're going to see every project expand, make partnerships, become more scalable, become more decentralized. It's just the natural process of maturation for cryptocurrencies. We've seen it with Bitcoin first, and it was more centralized than it is now when it was only a couple years old. And we saw it with Ethereum. We're seeing it now with Cardano. And the ones that do it right are doing exactly what HBAR is doing. So not going to be the only one doing this, but I'm glad to see that they are innovating and changing and addressing some of the concerns that were at the forefront at the earlier stages of their development.
I think my biggest, in the beginning, my biggest beef with Hedera was, their hash graph consensus was patent protected, so no one else could use it. And my whole thing is, well, the whole idea of blockchain and crypto is open source. We build on top of things, right? We're such a new space, you need collaboration. Until we had Mance Harmon on, he said, no, it's not patent protected anymore. Anyone who wants it can use the hash graph. So,
can we get him back on the show?
No. So let's move on. Let's move on to Solana. Yes, we can.
Okay.
So Sol sees ultra bullish push as Solana confirms the Helium migration date. It's a source from ZY Crypto. Earlier today, the Solana team confirmed that the Helium network would finally be migrating to Solana on March 27th, which sent Sol and HNT token prices soaring. This is a quote from their blog. After months of meticulous planning and technical development, the Helium Foundation is proud to formally propose March 27, 2023 as the migration date to the Solana blockchain. Now, Helium has faced major scaling bottlenecks that have always affected its mining and data transfer processes. According to the Helium team, quote, Solana has the speed and scale necessary to take on the blockchain responsibility, while the Helium core developers and community can focus on building wireless protocols and enabling utility on these networks. What is Solana doing, Magic? What are some key levels to look out for on Solana? And do you think it could ever get back to its bull market highs of over $250?
I stand by what I said when we covered this on my first appearance on here. I said I really, I was still looking for lower. It did bounce from a very technical level, but realistically, I said the bounce can go pretty high. It could realistically go between $50 and $60, and it doesn't really mean anything on a global range standpoint. But in terms of levels you should be watching, you had a range here. So all I've done is I've effectively gone in and just mapped off your Q2 low from 2022 and your Q3 low right here, as that's the last place that you could see structure really trying to set up shop, so to speak, when we were coming down. So if you go out to, let's get some of those low times frame stuff off here. We got to the quarterly chart. So 3-month candles. Oops, that's a 2-month. We don't need that. What you'll notice is that this little zone was the last area where there was support being found. And now it's being back tested as resistance here is what you're watching. So this is actually just part of the box, by the way. That's not the wick. The wick hasn't quite reached $30 yet. But if you got to the daily, you can see this was the zone I was looking for once we started breaking above this 2211, which is a 6-month hand generated pivot. And just the average of price from the first or the last 6 months of price in 2022, making it pretty relevant to where we're at now. So you can see you've swept below it. You're holding it as support. Now you're pushing into the quarter two low. And if you claim $26.03, I expect to see $30 on the nose. I think that would be the next level. And then you'd be looking upwards into like 32 and maybe even as high as 37 and this local high right here in the immediate short term. That would be quite bullish. That would include Bitcoin probably going to new highs as well. So that'd be good for the rest of the market. But for me, this box to me is still resistance till it's not. So if you were wanting to look at Solana and say, well, when would I know things don't look good anymore? I would say that if you came back down now and lost $22.11 on a rejection, you have these local daily demand areas right here that I had outlined that also lined up with some local volume profile at the time. If you were to lose this little box here just beneath that 22 level, like this little area, you're probably heading back down to like $13 to $14 on it. But it is getting the push. It's underneath resistance. So if you claim $25, it starts living above this region. I'm looking for 30. However, if you do something and Bitcoin is, let's say Bitcoin starts breaking down, the market's not looking great, and we've effectively swung fail our last local high that we've made for the new year right here, I would expect us to probably come back down, remain range bound. You could do very simple TA if you'd like. You don't need to use any time for this. You could just say this is all one big range. And you would say, yeah, I'm targeting $22. And if we lose 22, I'm also losing that one standard deviation value area low. And I'd be probably looking back for a larger correction into this zone right here. And the reason that zone is so important is if you were to put a little more price action out there, what you can see is that this is where all the volume is at. So there's really, we're in no man's land right now. So you want to see this get continuation. If it doesn't get continuation up to like this $32 level right here at that high volume node, into that value area high, you know, you could be looking back down to here. And that would be an opportunity, in my opinion, to trade it. I would actually happily look at that and say, okay, if there's a good reaction, I might long that area. I might pick up some Solana just to trade it. The volume's good on it, so might as well.
Are you shorting at $32 then?
Am I shorting at it? If there's a good reaction, yes, absolutely. I would consider it, yeah. If you got what you, let's say that price came up to here and did something like this and then gave up the quarter three low, I would happily short here, target the next low right here at 25 and then try to take it back down. That's how I would treat that scenario. That way I have good risk management. I'm not in over my head and I have a clear trigger for bearish sentiment, you know, giving up a key level of support that was recently reclaimed at $30 and then losing that level would look to me like, oh, I could take this back down to that first target, which is, you know, 1/6, what's that, like 15, 17%, then take it down to the 6M1 even. And that is, you know, that's a good 33% move from your entry point. You don't really need any leverage for that. You can use spot if you want to. You can 1x short. So really up to you as a trader. As long as you're managing your risk, you're good to go. You might lose the trade too. It might stop you out, and that's okay as long as you've taken a decent setup and you don't fall in love with your position, you know? So
yeah, Magic,
that's how I use it.
Let me ask you a question. So we've seen obviously trend trading, right? The whole narrative trading. We saw the AI narrative. We're seeing the Bitcoin layer 2 narrative. For the average trader, when they look at a chart, what are some things to look for to be like, okay, it's too late to get into this rally or there's still room to make profit? Is there any indicators you like to look at, or is it volume? Like, what do you look at to determine, all right, this thing's going to keep going, or hey, you know, it's too late to get on this moving train. You should wait for the next stop.
So I'm a big proponent of market structure. And I know that's kind of one of those things where people are like, oh, it's so subjective, and it can be. But I like to look at the high time frames. So again, you know, when we zoom out, that's where you're going to want to make all your analysis. Let's go back to this chart for that. Actually, let's go to the 3 month. So now we're zooming out and we're saying all this each candle is worth 3 months of price action. And what I can see is that we're littered with resistance here. So if we can claim this area of the chart, there's really nothing between me and probably $67. And that's our next local low that was support here right around like $80, give or take. So I would be looking at this as, if this area of the chart is claimed, like we start living above $30 and we're putting pressure on to like $32, $37, we have a good range that's breaking to the upside. I'm now saying, okay, I think that this has got legs. Where am I going with that? Where's the next logical area? It's right here, and that's probably going to be a good swing trade, and it's 100% from where you're even getting in, so you still have that like opportunity. But when you're at resistance right now and you're just coming up to back test it on that first attempt, just rule of thumb, a lot of times you're not going to just slice right through it. So buying in at the resistance isn't always the best play. Same with Bitcoin, like right here. So Bitcoin could very easily be looked at as a range as well. You could say, okay, here was my low from quarter 2, I believe, and here's my high. I've got my range. What did we do? We deviated the range. What happens when you deviate a range most of the time is you target the EQ, and then you're targeting the high of the range, which you can see we've now met. So that's how you get into a swing trade like that. You're seeing a change of behavior. And to me, that's really more important than a lot of times looking at an indicator, because indicators oftentimes are lagging. You hear that all the time. And they can leave you, kind of front running things. And one of the big ones was this one right here. Everyone was on about, I want to say it was like monthly divergence on the RSI. But if you zoom out on a time frame that is that large, you realistically actually had to get back above 47K and hold it to confirm the divergence, because it's confirmed by market structure. A change in market structure will confirm the divergence, and then it plays out even further. More locally, though, you can do things like daily, and you can get in on these intraday moves. But when you start zooming out to the high time frames and saying, okay, I've got a much bigger move here, I should expect at least 21.5 if we start claiming this area of the chart. I know that I should be holding this for higher targets and just putting my stop loss down here where I might be wrong, and just leave it there and don't mess with it. So that's how I do it. Hopefully it's not as clear as day, but I use volume primarily to find my entries. So when you're talking like order flow and things like that, like right here, for instance, Max, shout out to Max, and this wasn't a great low right here, to be honest with you. It swept this low like we wanted. It was the trade setup that I gave, and we were longing it up from there. However, the volume wasn't great. This volume right here, though, which you can see this candle is filled in solid, showing that it was over 200% volume of the prior 10 candles. This volume was actually really, really good on the order flow. Lots of buyers coming in, and made for a very good thesis that, okay, we've already swept the low. There's the buyers we were waiting for. Now we're just trying to take this up to our next targets, which we've effectively met. And you're just sitting on 24/7, which 24/7, why is it so important to get back above this level? You have not closed a weekly candle above 24/7 since all the way back here, basically, open and closed, let's say in June. That's why 24/7 to me has been such an effective level. It's an old breaker level. If we get a change of behavior, I'm looking for this pivot. It also coincides with my 1-to-1 in time, so my timeline is correct. And then I just gauge the reaction and say, okay, if I see reversal and we break back into this range, that's obviously bearish. So I should be looking for this to play out a little bit more like this. And it's just deviating from the range and coming back into it, much like we did up here in a previous time. So it's more about context. There is no cookie cutter method to like be 100% accurate on trading. Obviously, you're not even going to be 100% accurate, even if you have some of the best understanding in the world of any tool. But you can see here, You've made your way above the range. You start breaking back in it. And it's actually serving as support and resistance, which I found kind of funny, but it's not meant to be. But you can see how that happens. So what we don't want to see is a break up into this region and then a break back down into the range. And if that happens, I'm probably looking more for like an interim swing short over the next coming weeks. And we'll just fill out.
What are those candles called? What kind of candles are those?
These are called PVA candles. I have some settings that I do on them. There's some guys in the group that trade them pretty well, and they look at both the 100% volume, 150%, 200%, and it's just showing you when a trend might be weakening without having to go to the order flow. You can see this being printed. Amazing. And it's nice because it's comparative to the last 10 candles, so you're seeing good volume. And you'll notice that when they come in, they actually like to fill because there's a lot of volume that comes in here. So a lot of times we'll come back and we'll backfill these, and you can actually do backfill rates on these. They're pretty good. So we do everything on this from the 5-minute up to like the daily in terms of statistics on them. They're pretty interesting.
I've never seen those candles, man. Those are dope. I'm going to use them. I'm actually going to probably text you after the show. All right, Rob.
I'll link it in the Discord for you.
Yeah. And someone in the community was wondering as well. Guys, this is why we bring on different people, because I've never seen anyone use those candles. And so, Rob, you've been quiet for too long. I'm getting nervous. You right?
You know what? I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on with the chat. Why are y'all so quiet? And so a little love to the chat here. If you're new, say hello so that way we can drop an hola back at you. Some of the new people here, we have Crypto Fan Chris. We got Richard Wright, Wise Tree, Chuck Finger, Corey Wrights. We also have Rosen, Phillip, Robot, ROW bot. I see what you did there. We also got Amanda M, Christina Kim Vasquez, BC in the Matrix. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Also, just wanted to give a big shout out to the people that turned out yesterday for the Sunday Sunday rant and ramble with your boy Big Rob at the house. Also saw Magic there. A lot of super chats was thrown my way. I was like, man, I might do this Saturday too, because it pays.
Guys, if there is a token you would like our friend Magic to do some TA on, throw it in the chat, man. We might just pick one.
There was a couple people that referenced Theta, Lunar VRR message about Theta, and then one other person asked about it as well. I tried to write it down. I missed it though. But so a couple people in the chat are curious about Theta, which is kind of interesting because it's kind of that same ecosystem with the Helium. It's more, I know Helium is network as far as bandwidth, but
we did a deep dive on Theta. It was one of our better ones. It was really good
video, and the Theta business model is good. The problem is that barrier for entry to get unique content is tough, man. And so everyone's got copyrights.
It's onboarding.
Yeah, it's there's not a lot of incentive to put your content there versus a larger platform with a larger audience. So if they can grow their community,
we actually have some news regarding the new YouTube CEO. He's apparently a big Web3 guy. So we'll talk about that later. But yeah,
our boss stepped down. What was her name?
No idea.
Anyway,
she's a good boss though.
She was one of the original team members for Google. So she's been around for 20 years. So interesting to see what the direction of YouTube.
If YouTube can figure out the shorts and take some market share away from TikTok, their growth is going to be exponential. But Magic, let's take a look at Theta. What are some levels to take a look at? Give us some levels to buy if you plan on holding long term, and give us some levels to buy if you plan on swing trading.
Yeah, so this is one we actually just looked at as well. This was the level given at 0.981. So really nice breaker level here. It's been back tested several times. Be an important level to hang on to. Let's put it that way. Me personally, though, my thesis on it was I was actually looking for this to come up to $1.78 still and take these highs. It may do that before revisiting the lows. I'm not really sure how this one will play out. You do have a pretty good amount of consolidation here. If I was just looking at it, I would just say this is all one giant range. I would just loop everything together. And I would say that we're looking up still. So I would put a marker here at the high at $1.33.7. And I'd basically be saying if this reaches that level and comes up to the value area high and then comes back below, I'd be looking to take it back to the point of control and then probably the overall range low, which is 98.1 cents. And that would be the area of interest for me. Again, that's been a really good area of both resistance and now support. So that's the area I'm most interested in. However, I would like to take this local high personally, just from a structure standpoint. There's a lot of stops up there from all the way back in August. And I think that would be an even better trade. Also, we have untapped levels up there. And if we got to the 3-month chart, just like we did previously, we can see that this is also going to be that Q4 high from 2022. So if Theta is going to do anything material-wise, we need to see $1.33.7 reclaimed. If it's reclaimed, I can then start really kind of ratcheting up my targets and saying I think that there's a good chance we come up to like $1.78 all the way down to this box right here. And I would just treat this as a range from there. So $1.33 gets claimed. I'm looking up into the $1.78 range. After that, we can go to these local lows at 227 and 278. But if you remain range bound underneath this local level, right? Let's say that we don't make that move and it remains range bound and you're like, I'm going to be extra patient. I really want to get into this asset. Yeah, you could easily map off a range like right here. And you could just say that this is my range. And I don't want to necessarily be buying at the high of my range where my resistance is at. So I would be looking at this as if I get the opportunity to have more price action in this region, I'm interested in owning the asset, assuming the market is still looking good for us. If the market's not looking good, Bitcoin's jumping to like 10K out of nowhere, probably not going to be looking to DCA in this area. But if I was someone that was looking for a position, I would want to make sure that I'm getting in at a good level. Anything underneath the EQ is good for this, because I do think we'll see these highs and probably take this high, maybe set in a larger range. Who knows? So we'll see how that pans out. But that's how I would treat Theta for now. I would treat it as a range bound asset until proven otherwise. But if you start getting that move up, realistically, you've got the impulse right here from March. Just like we talked about on Bitcoin, we can very easily pull out our gold pocket. And what do we notice? It comes in right in between the two levels we've already identified. So I would just say, if we can claim $1.78, I know 227 is there just in case. You've got like this local high right here as well on like a weekly, but I would start looking for this gold pocket. I'd be looking between 278 and about 298. We'll call it $3 right here. We'll just mark this. There we go. So that's the zone I would be looking at.
We've also gotten our first super chat for the day. We got Crypto Billy dropping that $1.99 super chat saying smash the like for Sin City Crypto and Magic Internet Money. And then if you're new here, say hello. We got a few new people. We got BGTT,
What the hell is
Butterball, David K, Johnny Rotten, Chantel, NZ, and Bruce Bradley. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
What does that mean, bro? Jip.
And then it's Charles holding up a Cardano baby.
Yeah.
And then
if you guys haven't noticed, they change these super chat things change every day. So.
Yeah, that's right. And then Magic, we have because we can't cover all the tokens that the community is asking about. I'll just kind of list the ones that I can spot out here, and then I'll just whichever one catches your attention, you let us know. We got Johnny Rotten says Matic. We got Blur. We got Moby
Blur.
Yeah, we got Moby saying Flow. We also have Algorand, Filecoin in here 3 times, so
Stacks.
a lot of 4 times on Filecoin, and Stacks, and then ICP. And Quant's up there a couple of times. So if any of those sound like something you want to take a look at, I'll let you kind of pick. And yeah.
So I can do Matic pretty quickly and Filecoin because I'm familiar with both of them. I just did cover these as well. So Matic is it's one of my biggest holdings. I'm a big proponent of Matic. This was actually my buy zone that I put out in the summer of 2021, which we front ran. And I bought this waiting over a year to get it. And so I'm pretty happy with it. Now I'm looking at this as a potential top. And I say that because you have a swing fail up here on the daily, and we've run into a pretty major area. And what I was looking for was this. This is a harmonic pattern. And basically it works off Fibonacci ratios with common completion points in confluence with each other. So it's referred to as like congruence, confluence, however you want to put it. And you get reactions off these levels. So this box for me was an area that I've been targeting. I'm actually in a short on Matic, looking down to hopefully $1.33 to $1.29 first, and then maybe a little lower. However, if the market remains bullish and I get pushed out of this position, I'm not going to be upset about it because I hold a bunch of Matic. So it's one of those, it's kind of a win-win there. But I'd love to take a little bit of my portfolio and make more Matic with it, because that's what I'm going to do with that money. So I am looking at Matic as it's had its run up. This is a pretty good area to be looking at in terms of a take profit. If you're not comfortable shorting it, you don't have to. Just know that you might get an opportunity to buy back in at like 129. Down to as low as like 105 and 101, because this is the technical target. This is what's called your B leg. And the reason that's so important to note is that when you made this impulse down, you did a 50% retrace up, another 50% retrace down, and then you got expansion into common targets, which is an 886 with a 1618 expansion up to a 2618 expansion confluence, which you certainly have. Now you're looking for a back test of the range. I'm going to get rid of this real quick. And this would be your range right here. So you can see that you've been range bound in this. This has been support and resistance for quite some time. And that would be the area that I'd be targeting and want to hold. So that's where I'm most interested in Matic going forward, to be honest with you guys. So I am looking a little bit lower, and I would love to get that entry price. Now, if we lose $1, which is called $1, I guess, I don't think it spells doom by any means. You could be coming back down to like this 83 down to as low as like 75 cent range. But I don't necessarily want to revisit that area before getting major continuation up to like something like $2 where this gold pocket is.
I want to see that area again.
I do too. I would love to get more, but if you're looking for continuation in the short term, just know that losing $1 is not exactly, it's not like a death sentence by any means, but it's not the it's not like a big bill of clean health. I wouldn't look at that too favorably.
Okay.
Filecoin is pretty simple. So I actually put a Filecoin video out in February of 2022 when it was up here, and I left my notes on that chart. And the reason I did was I was looking for this to take a pretty big leg down into, hopefully I didn't delete them. We covered it on the Friday night charts. I might have. That's unfortunate. Oh, they're there somewhere. We'll just pull it up this way.
That thing had a massive pullback.
As I was speaking to you guys about weekly bullish divergence earlier, there were a lot of creators that were pushing Filecoin right here into like in the $20 range, and they were saying we've got weekly bullish divergence and blah blah blah. And this was all stuff that I keep an eye on what people are saying. And the video I put out is in the group as a chart build. So I started with nothing on the chart and went all the way to a thesis. It takes about 45 minutes, and I explain everything throughout it. And basically, looking at the 2021 low and 12M level here at the lows, if it's lost, we're very likely to see this lower demand zone. And this was my lower demand zone right here, this little box, which we did see. We actually went a wick below it, but that's okay. Got your fills, and you've actually come back up to this structural resistance. That was the resistance we mapped out on Friday. So you do need to see 978 flipped, but more importantly to me, I would want to see 1135. I think that if you can resolve $9, let's just call it that 950 here, up to 11, this little like zone into support, you've effectively done an SR flip, and then we can almost target the 2021 low again and this 12M level all the way up at like $20. And I'd be curious to see where the yearly pivot is. Yeah, 14. So you might want to be cautious of a pit stop up here between $14 and $15, but that to me would be the next areas that I'd be most interested in. So if you get the opportunity to buy this one again back at support, this is going to historically be very, very good support for this. So I would be interested in that area quite a bit if it came back down to it. I'm not a leverage guy on alts really. So for me, this is just riding an uptrend. I would expect it to come back, get a decent bounce, and I would be happy to trade that into like more of a local like point of control or something, and maybe leave some of it to ride if we get that push up, and Bitcoin puts in a higher low or something, and we go off to the races, So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, Filecoin, you got to get above 1135. If you do that, you probably have a 50% jump up, maybe even a full 100.
Let's go. If you have money in Filecoin, put a 1 in the chat. Magic, we love and appreciate you, my friend. Guys, go support Magic. Go follow him on Twitter. Here's his Twitter handle, at Magic Internet M1, not M2, M1. Curious, why didn't you do M2? Why M1?
It was what was available. It was what was recommended because I got Magic Internet money back in 2019 on YouTube, and I thought I was like the luckiest dude ever. And then I went to Twitter to make a Twitter account, and someone already had it, and I was like, dang it. Yeah. So that was the recommended, and I just went with what was recommended. It is what it is.
Guys, Magic goes live, I believe, every weekday or every day of the week. You go live around 7 or 8 a.m. in the morning Pacific, right?
Yeah, we're 9 Central Time or 10 Eastern as well, I guess. And then on Fridays, I do an evening stream for altcoins because we do primarily cover like the DXY, SPX, order flow, and Bitcoin in that morning stream. We do get into some alts, but an alt-only dedicated stream is on Friday.
Awesome. Guy, and that link to his YouTube channel is in the description of this video. Go check it out. Go subscribe, Magic. As always, my friend, thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Have a good one. Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys.
Take care, brother. All right. I mentioned, since we kind of mentioned our CEO here, right? YouTube CEO. Take a peek.
Mm-hmm.
New YouTube CEO is bullish on Web3 tech like NFTs and the metaverse.
Let's go. Yeah.
After serving as YouTube's chief product officer for 7 years, Neil Mohan was appointed as the new CEO after Susan Wojcicki said she'd be stepping down. I don't know why, yeah. During his longtime tenure shaping YouTube's offerings, Mohan has kept an open mind about the evolution of the internet and its assorted platforms. Last year, he disclosed in a blog post that YouTube was looking at ways it could possibly integrate Web3, whether by making YouTube more immersive, by leveraging the metaverse, or tapping technology like NFTs, unique digital tokens that are often used to assert ownership of online content. He said, quote, "We believe new technologies like blockchain and NFTs can allow creators to build deeper relationships with their fans. There's a lot to consider in making sure we approach these new technologies responsibly, but we think there's incredible potential as well. For example, He wrote that NFTs could be a compelling, verifiable way for fans to own unique videos, photos, art, and even experiences. Are we about to start making some more money or what? Someone in the chat said, don't get too excited. Gary Gensler was also a big blockchain guy. It is a little different. You know, you're not writing, you're not making law. You're not making law, but
it's good, man. You know what? Honestly, like, even when you have somebody that's been in a company for a long time, the shakeup in management, sometimes a fresh perspective, someone else's vision and goals can be beneficial. Same time, that could, obviously fall on the other side, and somebody could be like, what we need is a jump to conclusions, Matt. And, that all goes south. But I think...
Jump to conclusions, man.
That's for my... if you know what movie that is, type it in the chat. Now, a couple things. YouTube is not shy from monetizing content, right? We see with super chats. I think we get, was it 70% of super chats, and then they keep 30%.
Man, way to go out on a limb, bro.
Which is fair. No, honestly, like,
you're okay with them taking 30%?
Yeah. Here's the thing: you're a barber. You go to a barber shop. You got to pay for the chair. A business built the building, and they got the customers, and you get to come in as a barber, and you got to pay the fee. Same thing if you want to be a personal trainer. You don't get to just walk in the gym and start tapping people on the shoulder, be like, I'll be your personal trainer. Like, you want to use their facility, you got to pay for it. Same thing here. You want to use the customers and the consumers, or the community that is YouTube, and you want to monetize off of it, they're going to take their cut. This is just the way business works. But YouTube does not shy away from expanding the different ways that you can monetize. We have the stickers, we have YouTube, we have the memberships. And it only makes sense that if they see an avenue where people, want to move their crypto profits over, because that's a lot of what NFTs became, were profits from crypto, right? So a lot of people made money off of Ethereum, and they made money off of Bitcoin and these alts. And so what did they do? They injected it into smaller projects, into other ecosystems, and to NFTs. And damn well when the next bull market comes by and starts to rally, what are people going to do? They're going to start pouring their profits in other platforms. And say we were talking about Theta. What happens if people start pouring money into Theta? Don't you think that YouTube is going to be at attention and be like, hey man, they just generated $500 million worth of revenue because people wanted a tip and pay and use crypto.
Tokenize NFT certain moments. Can you imagine one of our debates being NFT'd and sold?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be pretty cool.
Which one would you tokenize if you had to pick one?
I don't know.
Was it the one that you were wrong and I was right?
We've had
That's
some
my
good ones.
favorite.
That's rarely the case. All right, let's move on to some more serious news.
Dun, dun, dun.
Kraken and Custodia Bank CEOs say regulators ignored their warnings about scams and frauds. So we've heard this many times before, that people were trying to blow the whistle on Sam Bankman-Fried, on Alex Mashinsky, on all these people that have now gone down in flames. People warned the SEC. People warned the Department of Justice. People warned the OCC and the Treasury and whoever else they warned. And nothing was done about it. In fact, the opposite was done. The SEC was meeting with Sam Bankman-Fried and people from FTX right under their nose. They couldn't even sniff it. It's terrible. Maybe they got COVID or something. So in a Twitter thread, Custodia Bank founder and CEO Caitlin Long said she provided evidence to law enforcement about a crypto crime months before the company collapsed and left millions of customers in the lurch. She said, quote, I handed over evidence to law enforcement of probable crimes committed by a big crypto fraud starting months before that company imploded and stuck its millions of customers with losses. She also added that she warned banking regulators of impending risks of bank runs at banks servicing the crypto industry before the actual runs took place. But she believes that her warnings were buried in the bowels of bureaucracy. Jerome Powell, said that he found it infuriating that regulators ignored, or sorry, not Jerome Powell, Jesse Powell, my bad. Sorry. Got Jerome Powell in my mind. Jesse Powell, the co-founder and former CEO of Kraken, said he said that he found it infuriating that regulators ignored the massive red flags and obviously illegal activity that he had pointed out for years. According to him, the regulators noted the red flags and said that it's complicated because the firms are offshore. But they were looking at everybody. Yeah, okay. And guys, remember, Custodia Bank is the one that applied to be part of the Federal Reserve System. They were dangled around and, whatever that term is, for 18 months. They were led on for 18 months until finally they said no. And so last thing Caitlin Long said, Custodia tried to become federally regulated, the very result bipartisan policymakers claim to want. Yet Custodia has been denied and now disparaged from daring to come through the front door. What does this tell you? There's I know BitBoy talks about the SEC is trying to clear the way for their friends. Part of those friends are USDC. Part of their friends on Goldman Sachs and BlackRock. And custody is going to move to banks now. And so, obviously, right, they don't give a crap about us, the investor, or anyone, right? Because when multiple people are blowing the whistle on the same company, and this whole offshore thing is complete BS. FTX US wasn't offshore, right? Voyager wasn't offshore. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Okay, here's the thing. Before this article, before you read this, before people start speaking out about it, it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that the SEC were picking their battles and ignoring others, right? You're in that camp?
Yeah.
And as entire branches of government do certain things over the course of time, you find out about it.
Like a resume.
Yeah, things come out. Eventually, if you have 100 people that work in a department, you might be able to keep things under wraps for a certain period of time. Things are going to come out, and you can always look at fraud in politics. Go through the course of history. Anytime, or a lot. I don't want to say all the time, but there's a long list of examples where things were hush hush for a long period of time, and then later on you find out that there was collusion and people were lying and fraud, and so is it blatant fraud? That's my question. Is this blatant fraud? Is this knowing that illegal activity was going on and the SEC buried it?
Yes.
Or
yes.
Was it a lack?
There's no or, bro.
It's
It's yes. There's no or, man. It's yes, bro. How are you going to sit there and multiple people come to you and they say, this is going on? We're talking about people in the space, a freaking bank, Custodia Bank. You have Jesse Powell. You've had Brian Armstrong. You've had other people blow the horn on the likes of Sam Bankman-Fried. And on top of not doing anything, they were meeting with them to propose legislation. If that's not outright conspiracy against the entire market, I don't know what is. I just want to know who's going to hold these people accountable, right? A lot of people lost money.
So, but you could make an argument, and I side with you. I believe that they were aware. There is a small part of me that says that maybe they brushed it off as, hey, these are competitors. So you have Jesse Powell, who's a competitor at FTX.
Custodia Bank is not a competitor.
I know that. But then you also got Custodia Bank that is actively irritated with the SEC. And so they are saying, hey, we're doing good. Other people are not. I'm just saying that I could see a scenario. Now I don't hold this true, but I could see a scenario where the SEC is all like, all right, so you got FTX's major competition saying FTX is participating in fraud. Then you have a bank that we don't want to approve that's getting irritated. They know it's coming. It's not them
approving them. It was the Federal Reserve.
I know. Well, I'm just saying that they have issue with regulators, put it that way. And all I'm saying is that sometimes
Robin.
Okay, if
Right.
you have an employee,
Right.
okay, if you have an employee, okay, let's just say you have a business, right? And you have an employee, and they keep getting written up, they keep coming in late, they're on the verge of getting fired, and then they come up to you like, hey man, this guy over here, you know, who is the white knight, who's the golden child, who's the kiss ass to the boss, the one that the boss loves, and the guy that the boss hates comes up and is all like, hey man, that guy's a fraud. Don't you think the boss is gonna be like, yeah, that guy's just hating, man.
But
He's
it's
hating.
not your. But no, that's not okay, man.
I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying that
you are a governing regulator. You are put in
doesn't
place.
matter. There's still
Yes.
favoritism in
How
this
long-
world. It doesn't matter if it's a person, a company, or
Well,
a
yeah,
branch of
duh,
government.
duh.
And you know what? There's one thing that Sam Bankman-Fried did very well was to be friendly to people through donations, obviously, but to get on people's good side. And also, he sold himself as this savior. Again, you know what? Before this thing blew up, we were not talking massive crap about how obvious of a fake he was. There were many articles and discussions, even in our own camp, about how this guy is changing our space for the better.
Because he paid journalists off,
so
too.
if we thought that, if me and you, who are crypto people that do this every day,
But no one, Custodia Bank CEO wasn't coming to us and saying, "Hey, this is what's happening. This is the proof." How long? Do you remember that?
but if we were the largest channel, let's just say we were the very biggest channel, and our sponsor was FTX, and we were getting offers from all these different people, let's just say, and their biggest competitor was like, I don't know why you take a sponsorship from FTX. You should get it from us. They're frauds. Don't you think that we would? Don't you think that you could think
That
in
is
your
such
head
a
that you'd be
bad
like,
comparison.
they're only saying that because they want our business and they're trying to diminish somebody else?
We're not the fucking SEC. We're not regulators. Our job isn't to protect
The
investors.
SEC is not some high
That
and
is
mighty
their
white
job,
horse.
to protect investors.
That is not the truth, though.
So then government's a lie.
The
Government's a lie.
Okay, so if you think that all the branches of government are we're going to do what's right, we're going to not listen. You know, if somebody has a complaint,
Then they
we're going
should
to
be
take
held
it
accountable.
seriously.
They should be held
When's
accountable.
the last time you tried
They
to contact?
should be held
When's the
accountable.
last time you tried to make any kind of government complaint, bro? The runaround is it. And you know what? Do you think that if somebody complained to the SEC that it even went through the right chain of commands? I just feel like there's some secretaries like, oh, okay, yeah, who's the front? Okay, yeah, we'll patch it through right away. Yeah,
How
for
long?
sure. And then do you think they did anything? They
Yeah.
probably hung up the phone and then they got back to scrolling through Instagram, and then that message never went anywhere.
You think that's how they found Kim K? As they weren't scrolling on Instagram?
That's probably how they even found there. You know,
All right.
they were sitting there getting dropped. They're getting all kinds of alpha dropped to them.
I'll leave it at this, okay? Do you remember after FTX went under and they declared bankruptcy and there was a screenshot of their routing information from Silvergate that showed that money coming in was being diverted to Alameda? Do you remember that? How quickly that started circulating? You're telling me the Securities and Exchange Commission, if they're getting word
David,
from
I told you.
from multiple entities that this was going on, that they couldn't find that
The
information?
First thing I said before I started that was that I believe that they knew what was going on and they ignored it. And all I'm saying is that at the same time, I'm not sitting here like there's 100% chance they knew that no matter what, Gary Gensler had all the information in front of him. He knew without a reasonable doubt there was 1,000 different sources telling him FTX, and he just blatantly ignored it. All I'm saying is that perhaps he knew, more than likely he knew, but all I'm saying is that it's a big ass company with 1 million different people working there, or thousands of people working there, with all kinds of complaints coming from all different places. And all I'm saying is that there's a possibility that he thought it wasn't fraudulent. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
And so you think there's zero chance? There's no way, shape, or form that information didn't get to the right people?
1%. Anyways, we're done.
I'm not advocating for FTX, and I'm not advocating for SEC. I think they damn well knew. All I'm saying is that there's inefficiencies in our branches of government.
There's corruption. in our
And
branches
there's
of government.
also corruption, and there's also inefficiencies. The inefficiency in government is mind-boggling.
It's
How
not
many
inefficient.
different branches of government that can't even communicate with each other? You got to go and get a marriage certificate from one department to go prove to another DMV that you are married, and then that ID goes to the IRS for your taxes. And then you got to go to Social Security office to get your new number if you lose it. Like, why aren't these integrated? Like, there's no efficiency. Why the hell is it in this day and age? And so that's what I'm saying, is that I feel like that headache and that inefficient process that is our government and how it's built, that hasn't changed at all in the last 30 years. I'm just saying that wouldn't surprise me if a complaint get lost. I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
hungry. I want to get some food.
We're done. Check out all the social medias. Check out this. Check out that. Everything's in the description of this video. Rocco.
All right, let's go.
Friends, family, friends, and family, and family, and friends, we thank you so much for joining us on this amazing Monday. Thanks for kicking your week off with us. Make sure to come back tonight at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I will be doing technical analysis and fundamental analysis. Also, and then if you don't happen to come find me there, come find us tomorrow morning, same time, same place. On behalf of myself, Robin, Rocco, and Kyler, we love you guys. Until tomorrow and tonight.